Well, good morning, and it's day 2 of my vlog, and today's t-shirt is Green Dragons. So thank you very much, Andy Shaw at Green Dragons. Now, Green Dragons, if you want to learn to hang glide, they're the places to go to, because they have a very unique system there where they do a relay towing system. So actually, as you're learning, believe it or not, your instructor is actually driving along next to you. So if you want to learn to hang glide, I'm going to put the link for Green Dragons at the bottom of the description, and I'll have it along there. Green Dragons also do plenty of accessories. You can buy gliders from them, and they're a great source if you want to learn to hang glide. So today's t-shirt shout out is Green Dragons, and I'm now going to give you a description of the 2 different types of hang gliders. So that's type 1, type 5, and that's flexie wings, rigid wings. And if I get time, I'll also just give you a quick briefing about the task today. So anyway, oh Christ, from Macedonia, broken ankle. Now, today I thought we'd start with a little bit of an introduction about the 2 types of hang glider we've got. We've got 2 types, and we've got one which is called a rigid wing. That's categorized as class 5. And basically they're using weight shift for pitch, but in roll control they'll have spoilers. So let me just show you with this glider here, because it's quite a good example of what's going on, and I've got 2 nice gliders next to each other, so I can actually just give you the description. So this is what's called a rigid wing. Right, so this is a rigid wing. This is known as an Atos VR. I think this one's a VRQ. So the first thing you'll notice is we've got the control operations here, and these are just literally working backwards and forwards on their own, because they are actually connected. And let me bring you around here. They are actually connected through a series of pulleys down to the wing, and then this pulley then comes down here, and as the pilot moves this bar left and right, so that's going to deploy the spoilers, and they are known as spoilers on this particular glider. So we've got the spoilers operating. The other unique feature about this particular glider is that you'll notice that it's got flaps as well, so the pilot can control the flaps. So he can go, I think they go down to about 40-45 degrees when he wants to come into land, and then he can change different angles when he's in the glide or when they're thermaling. And then also the unique thing about this particular gliders is that they've got this tail plane on, and for most of this is for pitch stability. And you'll notice that the latest ones are actually hinged here as well, so as the pilot is making adjustments, it's also trimming out on the tail plane as well. So let me quickly just give you a quick look at a rigid wing that's being assembled, and you'll see the difference now, as this is just one complete D-box spar, and so that you've got all the spars there, and then folded up inside here at the moment, inside here we'll see all the ribs. And what I'll do is, in a moment, I think this gentleman's going to get his out, and we'll see all the ribs. All the ribs are hinged to the spar here, and they'll all come out, and then the sail is all wrapped as well. And then what happens is it all gets loaded up on the ribs to make it nice and tight. So there's an interesting thing. So there's the this is for the wingtip, and these are the 2 ribs that go on the wingtip. So it gives you some idea of the wing section for those of you who are interested. So this is a rigid wing known as the class 5 hang glider. Right, so this is what's known as the class 1 hang glider. This one relies completely on weight shift. So as you've seen, the pilot will be down inside this control frame, and if he moves left and right and he moves up and down, swings forward, backwards and forwards in the control frame, that's controlling up and down, left and right. The other thing you'll notice with this is it's not a significant aspect ratio as the class 5 hang gliders. It's still got ribs that are used to form the shape, but you'll notice more on this particular glider. This is my son's glider. This is a Moyes RX5. So instead of having a leading edge, we've got a leading edge, but we've got this cross tube here, so it forms more of a sort of triangulation of strength. So you've still got the leading edge, and then also uniquely on these gliders you've got what are called washout rods, and these to help with pitch stability. And then also you'll notice it slightly differently than the rigid wings, where the rigid wings have their ribs connected to the spar. On these type of gliders, they're all inserted inside, so you've got these aluminium shapes and carbon fibre shapes called battens, and they're just all inserted to give the profile for the hang glider. So on this type of hang glider, they don't have flaps. What they'll have is something called a VG, which is a variable geometry system, where if you look at this, the cross tube here, it moves backwards and forwards on the on a pulley. So if we look down here, on this particular glider here, they've got like this rope that comes out. So what happens is the pilot can then control the whole cross tube backwards and forwards, and what that basically does is actually just tightens and loosens the sail. So when they want maximum glide, they'll pull the VB or VG right on, so it gets a very tight sail. You lose a little bit of roll control with that, but then they get, you know, maximum speed and glide. And then when they're thermaling, they'll be loosening the VG slightly, and then it gives them better control and be able to turn tighter. So that is what's known as a class 1 hang glider, and that's what we call a flexie wing, because basically the wing is flexing as the pilot is using his weight, whereas on a class 5, obviously we're using spoilers to control the glider, but they are still using weight shift backwards and forwards for pitch. So I hope that wasn't too technical, and I'll get back to you shortly. Right, buddy, welcome. Right. And your name, please?
I'm Laurent Tevenot.
And Laurent, which country are you flying for?
France.
And what glider have you got, and what's the size?
I have an Aeros GT 13.5, and it's with an aluminum frame.
Oh, and harness you're using?
Rotor.
So that's a rotor harness.
Rotor harness.
And your instruments?
Instrument is UD 5.
UD 5. Your favourite site in the world?
Give me 3.
Well, give me 3 then.
I love the Dolomites, Annecy, and the Pyrenees.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And your favourite food?
Finally, canard à l'orange.
Okay, lovely. Buddy, thank you very much.
Sure.
Cheers. You're the first one, mate. There we go. Right, and your name?
Jeremy Soper.
And the country you're flying for?
Great Britain.
And your glider and size?
Moyes Lightspeed RX4.
And your harness?
X-Wings Hero.
Okay, and the instruments you're using?
I've got a Browniger IQ1 as the simple vario, a iPhone with Fly Sky High as my main nav instrument, and then a Browniger IQ Compio Plus as a backup.
Brilliant. And your favourite site in the world?
Venet in West Tyrol in Austria.
Brilliant. Have a great comp, mate.
Thank you.
So this is my son, Ollie Chitty, getting ready to take off. And there you go. He's off. Go on! Very funny. Every time I see him take off, I get really emotional. Right, I am in the Goldfield, some 70 kilometres downwind. The interesting thing is the pilots will have done about 120 kilometres when they arrive here, and I think the rigid wing task today is a little bit longer. I think that's about 140. That's just done for sort of safety reasons, so they're not all gaggling around in the same thermals. At the moment we've got about another hour to wait, and then hopefully we get the British team in early. So I think this is one of the Brits. I think this is Grant Crossingham. He might be coming in, we think possibly 3rd or 4th position. This is Grant Crossingham coming in for his landing. Right, so we've got, I think, 3 Brits in the top 20, which is absolutely great. This is a rigid wing. I mean, we won't really know the scores because all the pilots hand in their electronic trackers, and then their positions will be finalised on speed, and they get points for what we call leading. So in other words, those that go out and find thermals get rewarded for that. So we'll just watch this chap land in. I think he's going to end up landing